Good evening, everyone. So we'll make a start. I'm conscious of the time, so hopefully it won't go too long. So tonight's about some information. So the reason why I chose the 7, 8s, 9s, we want to instill good habits in our younger students so when they get to our senior years, they're leading the way. So there's not much hope for our 10s, 11s and 12s to change their behaviours. So that's why I've made it 7, 8s, 9s. So just a little bit of information this evening, so I'll just go through. So it's about introducing myself. So I'll go on the next slide. So I'm going to introduce the coaching staff for this year, looking at the skill focus for each year. So what we're trying to do at St Brendan's is bring in some consistency around our skill development. So in the past, coaches have done their own thing. So one of my roles is to make sure that right through from year 7 right through to year 12, there's a progression with regards to their skills. So we're going to talk about our year 7 and 8 pre-trial trainings, our nomination process, our training days, our commitment contract, some costs are involved with the Rugby League, and upcoming events, community engagement, and any questions at the end. So a little bit about myself. So some achievements up there. So I've been fortunate enough to represent, to coach and to manage some really good sides. So this year I'm lucky enough to be the under-15 Queensland Maroon manager. So some of the best talent in Queensland. So we're going down to Redcliffe this year. So and hopefully some of those boys make Australia. Unfortunately, we had 4 St Brendan's boys in the Capricornia side, but they weren't able to go to the next level, unfortunately. So just my role around St Brendan's, it's about consistency. So making sure that what we do in the year 7s, is replicated in year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11 and year 12. So making sure that it's consistent across the year levels. Obviously some clarity. So what I've noticed in the past, so I did a little bit of review. So like I said, some coaches were doing their own thing, making sure that they are upskilled as well. So they've got the best professional development available and that they have the tools in place to make sure that the boys are getting the best coaching. Obviously the St Brendan's product, so making sure that when we're out in the community or we're going to football tournaments that we're on show and making sure that we are the best versions of ourselves and that we're bringing some some really good professionality to what we do here at St Brendan's. And obviously we've incorporated some new support staff, so he can't be here tonight. So we've got Scott Minto involved, so NRL superstar, so he's at our school. We've just got on Eddie Pettyborn too, so he's playing with the Capras at the moment, but he's a New Zealand international, so he's also here to help us with our rugby league as well. So we're getting some really good quality support staff around these boys. So some of our coaches, I'll get them to stand up as when I read out their names, so you know who they are. They've got their photos up there. Unfortunately, Mr. Watson, that's the best photo I could get. So Mr. Pete Reddy. So Mr. Pete Reddy is our 7A's coach for this year. So Mr. Pete Reddy's there. Mr. Cameron Watson, 7B. There he is, better version. 7C, Mr. Bjorn Prince and Mr. Eddie Pettyborn. So they're not here tonight. And with our 7Ds, we've got some of our seniors involved as well. So when I'm talking about giving back to the school, so you'll see that some of our seniors are involved with our team. So those 2 boys will be coaching 7Ds, but there'll also be other boys floating around on that Wednesday night helping out. Our 8A is Mr. Trent Gorry. Our 8B, Mr. Daniel Caldwell, so he's just there. 8C, Mr. Paul Opicotto, so you met him before. And our 8D is Mr. Bill Gunning and Liam Kenny, so 2 of our really respected seniors in our schools. 2019 coaches, sorry, it's got year 8 there, I made a mistake. So year 9 is Mr. Andrew Lawrence, he can't be here tonight. 9B, Mr. Peter Bartlett. And 9C, Mr. Shane Pears. He was here somewhere. So that's our coaching staff for our 7s and 8s and 9s for this year. So that's who will be running your students. So when we're talking about skill development, we're talking about mapping our skills right through from our year 7 right through to our year 12 before. So these are the type of things that as a year 7 coach and as a year 7 student and player, these are the type of things that at the end of the year that you'll be able to do. So my job obviously was to bring some clarity around what we did in rugby league. So this is our skill development mapping. So you can see the type of things that your boys will be doing on a week-to-week basis. So, you know, I'm more than happy to hand these out to parents so they can have a look at them as well. So I'll just keep going on. So adding on from our year 7, so like I said, there's some clarity and we're making sure that we're getting better every year and we're doing things a little bit differently, is in year 8 we add on from year 7. So we obviously make it a little bit more complex, so more around the rugby league skills, the basic skills of rugby league. What you'll see in many NRL sides, so the boys will see it on Friday night, they see the big sweeping moves, but I guarantee if you actually go and watch a NRL pre-season, they are doing the core skills day in, day out. So they are perfect at it. I actually went and seen Cowboys do some ball and grip, and they're actually using mini balls. They weren't allowed to use international balls until they were able to do everything with the mini ball first. And when they finished with the mini ball, they had to do the mod ball. And when they finished with the mod ball, then they could use the international ball. So boys, if you don't think, you know, core skills is important, you're kidding yourself. So at NRL level, they do it every single day. So a little add-on from our year 9. So from year 7 and 8, obviously when we're getting up to that year 9 level, it's getting a bit more complex. So some more of the game-based principles are coming in. Also the tactical and technical aspect is more coming into it instead of the fun aspect of it, but it's still fun, hopefully. So that's our mapping from our 7s right through to 9s. As you can see, there's progression from where they start to where they end. So our year 7 and 8 pre-trial training. So talking to the coaching staff, what we've envisaged is that there's going to be a lot of year 7s and a lot of year 8 boys trialling for the 7As, the 7Bs, the 7Cs. Okay, so what we've got is this Wednesday, tomorrow, and if you can't make it, that's fine. And next Wednesday, we're going to have our coaches involved, and they're going to set up with a, so the year 7 and 8 staff will run. It'll cover some of our skill development that's on our mapping. So looking at some basic core skills, and it's an opportunity for those coaches to see some students before the trials. So when we run our trial day, I'll explain that a little bit further on, but sometimes the boys don't get picked up on that trial day. And some of those good players don't get the opportunity to start in 7A. But what we're trying to do is negate that, is having these 2 training, sort of pre-training, so we actually get to sight these boys before the trial. So it gives them an opportunity to show us their skills. So that'll be 3:20 to 4:10. I'm aware that some clubs train on a Wednesday, so I'm trying to get it in that 50-minute period there. So it's just about our core skills. If you can't make it, that's all right. Just come and see us in the morning and say, "Sir, I can't make it," and I'll write your name down. So you're showing me that you want to be still part of what we do. Okay? Any questions around that pre-trial trainings? So nomination process, how the boys will be selected for these teams. So lists have been posted in the hall. So the boys, in their notices today, and as I think it's on Parent Lounge, the boys can go and sign up for what team they want to be involved in. So obviously, 7A, 7B, 7Cs. Okay, so they'll be taken down next Monday. So obviously taken down so I can start looking at who has applied for what team. Students have been asked to sign up for the appropriate team. If they're, a 9A student, okay, they're not just going to go play with their mates in 9C, that's okay, but we still want our best players playing in that 9A, 9B competition. So we have our trials, 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, 5th of June, so that is week 7. So that'll be all in our ovals out there, so it'll be all set up, and we'll just roll through with regards to those trials, and at the end of it, if we've got time, we'll have a possibles versus probables at the end. So that'll sort of make up what our teams are. And obviously, if boys have nominated for 9B, for example, and we think they're up to 9A, then we'll put them in the 9As. Okay, and vice versa, if they think they're in 9As and we don't think that they're at that level, sometimes they might drop down to 9Bs. Okay. Team lists for each week, so team lists for each team will be posted in week 8. So the start of week 8, after that trial on that Monday, those team lists will go up. I'll try and get them on the website as well. With regards to that, if you get put in a 8B, for example, okay, doesn't mean you stay in 8B the whole year. Okay, that we just, didn't see enough on that trial day or on those pre-training days to warrant you being a 9A. But after a few games, you might be good enough to actually go into that 8A, and someone else that's not performing, goes down to that 8B. So just don't think you're locked into that side, because you won't be. Okay, there'll be room for moving up and down. So training, each coach will set their training days, which will be on team sheets. So, our 12 open Ds, they probably don't need much training. They just turn up, throw a jersey on and have some fun. But with regards to our A's and B's and C's, sometimes those coaches will want to train. We're talking to Mr. Watson. There's a bit of conundrum around those under-12s, because at the moment they're still playing club footy. So international boys finish at the end of this term, so we have them for term 3, but some of those under-12s are still playing competition games. So they'll have a game on a Wednesday, they'll have a game on a Saturday or a Sunday, they'll have a training here at school, they'll have a training with their club. So that's a fair bit of footy for those kids. So we're going to try and manage that as much as possible. So some of those squads might be a little bit bigger, and that we rotate players through. I'm really big on no train, no play. So if you're too sick to turn up to training, you're too sick to play that game. Okay, if you're too sick to come to school that day, you're too sick to play that game that evening. Okay, so it's no train, no play. If you can't make it, you must notify your coach before training. There's no use ringing him after saying, "Oh, coach, I didn't make it because the dog got hit by a car," or something like that. Okay, so those are the type of things. Or mum's sick, or brother I couldn't pick up brother. Make a little phone call before training and let us know. Okay, so those contact information will be from the coaches to the players, or just come and see us during the day. "Sir, I can't make training today." "No worries, thanks for letting us know." Okay, but if you just don't show up and you don't train, you don't play that week. So commitment contract. So what I've got down the front is every student in 7 right through to year 12 that's playing for school for rugby league, it's a rugby league for St Brennan's, must fill out this commitment contract. Okay, and some key elements around that commitment contract. Maintain my commitment to learning in all subjects at all times. Maintain my commitment to behaviour and effort in all subjects at all times. Attend all extra training and events as expected as part of the school. Maintain a high standard of attendance and punctuality for all classes. Be available for matches for which I've been selected. Wear my school uniform in the appropriate manner and represent St Brennan's College with pride. Wear appropriate sports apparel, including boots and training apparel, to all training sessions and games. And that if I affront the judiciary for breaking the same expectation 3 times, or 5 or more appearances in total, that you'll forfeit your position in playing rugby league for St Brennan's. So what I've installed this year is a commitment contract. And what it is school comes first. Okay, so if you're not doing the right things at school, you don't get the opportunity to play rugby league for our school. Okay, so school comes first. And when I'm talking about maintain my commitment to learning in all subjects at all times, all I'm asking you is to have a go. I'm not asking you to sit up the front with your hands on your heads, being the teacher's pet, but it's just having a go. Okay, and that your behaviour is of a high standard, and that we can trust you when you go up to Rockhampton or wherever, that when you wear a uniform, you wear it with pride. So that commitment contract will be signed by every player. If it's not signed, they don't play. Okay, so a parent will sign it and the student will sign it. So it's about maintaining that consistency across from year 7 year through to year 12 and making boys accountable for their schooling. The cost. So the cost is $100 this year. And obviously it will go onto your school levies, according to Mr. Williams. So the $100 covers your registration or your team fees, covers your transport costs like the buses up and down. You get a training shirt, you get training shorts, and it covers obviously strapping and FAO costs. So our first aid officer, that's at the game. So those are the type of things. So it's $100 this year, and that's what your money covers. Community engagement, upcoming events. Boys have, what I'm really proud of, and it makes me really happy, is boys have participated in Walk for Domestic Violence. So they were down on the beach for that domestic violence walk. So a lot of our boys that are in our rugby league, our senior boys, were part of that. So it was great to see. I've seen a lot of boys on that Anzac Day march, marching with pride. So that's what we want all our rugby league students doing. Obviously there's a number of our boys on Clean Up Australia Day too. So with regards to that that contract there, boys will be expected to be part of any upcoming community events. So if we ask, you know, or they can't make it, that's fine, but there'll be some events that we say we must get to. Okay, we must show a strong representation from the rugby league community within the school for that event. Okay, and obviously our upcoming events, you know, there's an England tour for our 7s and 8s, and that will be, parents will be notified at the end of this week if those boys have been successful. Any questions? Perfect, hopefully I covered it all. So if you leave, that'll be up on the website as well, so that PowerPoint will be all placed up for parents that couldn't make it. So all we need to do now, boys, is collect that commitment contract, take that home, and what you need to do is once it's signed, bring it back to Mr. Minto in the sports office, please. All good, thank you.